the silent thief that steals more than just years. A quiet enemy in plain sight. Imagine this. You're sitting on your porch, sipping a cup of coffee, enjoying the golden hues of a sunrise. Life feels peaceful, almost perfect, but beneath the surface, an invisible force could be quietly working against you. Heart disease doesn't announce its arrival with fanfare or warning signs. Instead, it creeps into your life like a thief in the night, stealing not just years, but also vitality, independence, and joy. For seniors over 75, heart disease isn't just a health issue, it's a ticking time bomb. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, heart disease remains the #1 cause of death among older adults. What makes this statistic even more alarming is that many of these deaths are preventable. Yet, too often, people dismiss early warning signs, fatigue, shortness of breath, or occasional dizziness, as just part of getting older. By the time they realize something is wrong, their health has already deteriorated significantly. Let me ask you this. Would you ignore strange noises coming from your car's engine? Of course not. You'd take it to a mechanic immediately. So why do so many of us neglect our bodies when they send us similar signals? Your heart is the engine that keeps you alive, and ignoring its cries for help can have devastating consequences. Let's explore how heart disease operates, why it targets seniors, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself. The anatomy of a silent killer. To truly understand why heart disease claims so many lives after 75, we need to delve into the science behind aging and its impact on cardiovascular health. As the years pass, the heart undergoes profound changes, many of which increase vulnerability to heart-related illnesses. Here's a closer look at the key factors. High blood pressure, the silent saboteur. Hypertension, or high blood pressure, is often called this silent killer because it rarely causes noticeable symptoms until it's too late. Over time, elevated blood pressure forces the heart to work harder than it should, straining arteries and increasing the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and kidney damage. For seniors, whose blood vessels naturally stiffen with age, hypertension becomes even more dangerous. Imagine your arteries as pipes carrying water through your home. If the water pressure spikes repeatedly, the pipes will eventually burst. Similarly, untreated high blood pressure can lead to catastrophic events like heart attacks or strokes. Arterial plaque buildup, the clog in your engine. Decades of poor diet, lack of exercise, smoking, or genetic predisposition can lead to the accumulation of fatty deposits, known as plaque, along the walls of your arteries. Think of these plaques as traffic jams on a highway. They narrow the passageways, restricting blood flow and setting the stage for catastrophic events like heart attacks. For seniors, who already face declining organ function, reduced circulation can exacerbate existing conditions like diabetes, arthritis, and cognitive decline. Reduced heart efficiency, a weakened muscle. With age, the heart muscle itself weakens, reducing its ability to pump blood effectively. Picture an old car engine struggling to maintain speed uphill. It still runs, but it's no longer as efficient as it once was. This decline in cardiac output can leave seniors feeling fatigued, dizzy, or even faint. Combine this with other age-related changes, and you have a recipe for disaster. Chronic inflammation, the fire burning within. Aging also triggers chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body, often referred to as inflammaging. This persistent state of inflammation accelerates the deterioration of blood vessels, promotes plaque formation, and increases the risk of clotting, all of which are precursors to cardiovascular disasters. For seniors dealing with chronic conditions like arthritis or joint pain, inflammation can worsen symptoms, leaving them feeling perpetually stiff and achy. Each of these factors compounds the others, creating a perfect storm that leaves seniors exceptionally vulnerable to heart disease. And yet, despite its prevalence, many people fail to recognize the warning signs until it's too late. Don't let ignorance cost you your life. Real-life stories that hit close to home. Let me share a story that illustrates the human cost of heart disease. Meet Margaret, a vibrant 78-year-old grandmother from Chicago. She loved gardening, baking pies for her grandchildren, and volunteering at her local church. To everyone around her, Margaret seemed healthy and full of life. But unbeknownst to her family, she had been ignoring subtle warning signs for years: occasional dizziness, mild fatigue, and a nagging ache in her left arm. One day, while preparing dinner, Margaret collapsed. Her daughter found her unconscious on the kitchen floor and immediately called 911. At the hospital, doctors confirmed what they feared most. Margaret had suffered a massive heart attack. Though she survived, the damage to her heart was irreversible. Today, Margaret relies on a pacemaker, takes multiple medications daily, and requires assistance with everyday tasks she once performed effortlessly. Her once active lifestyle is now a distant memory. Margaret's story is tragically common. Every year, thousands of seniors experience similar fates, not because they didn't care about their health, but because they underestimated the power of prevention. The good news? You don't have to become another statistic. By taking proactive steps today, you can dramatically reduce your risk of heart disease and safeguard your golden years. How to outsmart heart disease. Preventing heart disease isn't about radical transformations overnight. Instead, it's about adopting small, sustainable habits that add up over time. Here are 5 evidence-based strategies to protect your heart and prolong your life. Adopt a heart-healthy diet. Nutrition plays a pivotal role in cardiovascular health. Focus on whole, minimally processed foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Limit salt, sugar, and saturated fats, which contribute to high blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Mediterranean and DASH diets are excellent examples of eating patterns proven to support heart health. Example: swap out butter for olive oil, choose grilled salmon over fried chicken, and snack on almonds instead of chips. Simple swaps like these can make a world of difference. Stay physically active. Regular exercise strengthens the heart, improves circulation, and lowers blood pressure. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week, such as brisk walking, swimming, or cycling. Resistance training twice a week is also beneficial for maintaining muscle mass and overall fitness. Tip: find activities you enjoy. Whether it's dancing, yoga, or playing pickleball with friends, staying active doesn't have to feel like a chore. Manage stress effectively. Chronic stress wreaks havoc on the cardiovascular system by raising cortisol levels and promoting inflammation. Practice relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or Tai Chi to keep stress in check. Social connections and hobbies can also provide emotional support and enhance mental well-being. Anecdote: Sarah, a retired teacher, credits her weekly knitting group with helping her cope with anxiety. Laughing with my friends while working on projects keeps my mind off worries, she says. Monitor key health metrics. Regular checkups are essential for catching potential problems early. Keep tabs on your blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and blood sugar. If any of these numbers fall outside the normal range, work closely with your doctor to address them promptly. Fact: high blood pressure, often called the silent killer, affects nearly half of all adults in the US, yet many remain unaware they have it. Quit smoking and limit alcohol. Smoking damages blood vessels and accelerates arterial stiffening, while excessive alcohol consumption raises blood pressure and contributes to obesity. Quitting smoking, even later in life, can significantly improve heart health, while moderating alcohol intake ensures you stay within safe limits. Success story: after quitting smoking at age 72, Tom noticed improvements in his breathing, energy levels, and overall quality of life. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it, he reflects. Conclusion: take charge of your heart health. Heart disease may be a formidable adversary, but it's not invincible. Armed with knowledge, determination, and the right tools, you can fight back against this silent killer and reclaim control over your destiny. Remember, every step you take toward better heart health, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. As we transition to the next reason behind senior mortality, falls and injuries, you'll discover how simple lifestyle adjustments can prevent life-altering accidents. Stay tuned for insights that could save your life or the life of someone you love. The silent struggle for every breath. The fragility of breath. Imagine waking up one morning, taking a deep breath, and realizing it's harder than it used to be. You dismiss it as fatigue or perhaps the remnants of a lingering cold. But as the days pass, that tightness in your chest doesn't go away. It lingers, growing heavier with each passing week. For seniors over 75, this scenario isn't uncommon. It's often the first sign of respiratory disease, a condition that claims millions of lives every year. Respiratory diseases like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, emphysema, bronchitis, and pneumonia are among the leading causes of death in older adults. These illnesses don't just appear overnight. They develop silently over decades, fueled by environmental factors, lifestyle choices, and genetic predispositions. By the time symptoms become noticeable, the damage may already be severe. Picture yourself struggling to climb a flight of stairs, gasping for air after walking just a few steps, or lying awake at night because you can't catch your breath. These aren't just inconveniences. They're signs that your lungs are crying out for help. Why seniors are particularly vulnerable. As we age, our lung capacity naturally decreases. The muscles that control breathing weaken, the elasticity of lung tissue diminishes, and the immune system becomes less effective at fighting infections. For seniors, these changes create a perfect storm, making them highly susceptible to respiratory conditions. Add years of exposure to pollutants, like cigarette smoke, industrial chemicals, dust, and even household irritants like mold, and you have a recipe for disaster. Consider COPD, a progressive disease that makes breathing increasingly difficult. Many seniors mistake its early symptoms, chronic coughing, wheezing, and shortness of breath, as normal aging. They shrug it off, assuming it's just part of getting older. But ignoring these warning signs can lead to irreversible lung damage. Pneumonia, another common respiratory threat, is equally insidious. What starts as a mild chest infection can escalate into a life-threatening emergency, especially for seniors whose weakened immune systems struggle to fight off bacteria and viruses. Real-life stories that hit close to home. Meet John, a retired mechanic from Texas who spent decades working in dusty garages and smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. At 60, he quit smoking and thought he'd dodged the bullet. But by 78, his persistent cough had turned into full-blown COPD. Today, John relies on oxygen tanks to get through the day, and even simple tasks like tying his shoes leave him winded. "I wish I'd known sooner," he says, reflecting on the toll his past habits took on his health. John's story highlights an important truth: prevention matters. Whether it's quitting smoking, improving indoor air quality, or staying physically active, small actions today can protect your lungs tomorrow. How to protect your lungs. Preventing respiratory diseases isn't about drastic measures. It's about consistency. Here are 5 strategies to safeguard your lung health. Improve air quality. Use air purifiers. Ensure proper ventilation, and avoid secondhand smoke. Even small improvements in air quality can make a big difference. Stay physically active. Regular exercise strengthens respiratory muscles and improves lung function. Activities like walking, swimming, or yoga can help keep your lungs strong. Get vaccinated. Stay current with vaccinations for flu, pneumonia, and other respiratory infections. These shots aren't just preventive, they could save your life. Quit smoking. If you smoke, stop immediately. If you've never smoked, avoid environments where you're exposed to harmful fumes or particles. Monitor symptoms. Don't ignore persistent coughs, wheezing, or shortness of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can slow the progression of respiratory diseases. By prioritizing your lung health, you can breathe easier, literally and figuratively, for years to come. The sudden thief of independence. A life altered in seconds. Picture this. You're enjoying breakfast, sipping coffee, and chatting with a loved one. Suddenly, your vision blurs, your speech slurs, and one side of your body goes numb. In an instant, your world changes forever. A stroke, a sudden interruption of blood flow to the brain, is one of the most devastating events a senior can experience. And yet, despite its prevalence, many people underestimate their risk until it's too late. Strokes strike without warning, leaving survivors with lifelong disabilities like paralysis, speech difficulties, and memory loss. According to the American Stroke Association, strokes are the 5th leading cause of death in the U.S., and nearly 3/4 of all strokes occur in individuals over 65. For seniors, the stakes are high. A stroke not only threatens life, but also independence. Imagine being unable to dress yourself, cook a meal, or take a walk around the block, all things you once did effortlessly. Why strokes are so dangerous after 75. After age 75, the risk of stroke increases dramatically due to several factors. High blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat, and clogged arteries are major contributors. Unfortunately, These conditions often go undiagnosed or untreated because they don't always cause noticeable symptoms. Many seniors assume that occasional dizziness, blurred vision, or mild confusion is simply part of aging. But these could be red flags signaling an impending stroke. Another alarming fact: up to 80% of strokes are preventable. That means the choices you make today, what you eat, how much you move, and whether you manage chronic conditions like hypertension, can determine whether you remain independent or face a life-altering health crisis. Mini strokes, the warning signs you can't ignore. Before a full-blown stroke occurs, many people experience transient ischemic attacks, TIAs, also known as mini strokes. These episodes mimic stroke symptoms but resolve quickly, often within minutes or hours. However, dismissing a TIA as just a scare is a grave mistake. Studies show that up to 15% of individuals who suffer a TIA will have a major stroke within 3 months. Seeking medical attention immediately can mean the difference between prevention and devastation.